informal iPhone video in my garage with a whole bunch of crap behind me, smoking a cigar, which is probably a disgusting habit to a lot of people, but it relaxes me. So that's my thing. Fun fact. I feel like now I'm going to be like this weird female cigar equine photographer. But anyway, today I wanted to talk a little bit about how terrifying it is to start up in an area that may be saturated with equine photographers. I'm moving into an area in North Carolina where there are big name photographers and they're permanently based there, and it's intimidating. But my dog, and you can see his nose, he just entered the chat here. I wanted to talk a little bit about what it means to battle that mindset issue of, am I even good enough to be doing this? Should I be doing this? That kind of a thing, especially with as saturated as the market is here. I'll say one thing that really did help me that someone told me once, which is, do you know how many horses there are in the world? There are so many. There's no way that the photographers that exist out there are enough to cover the number of horses that there are out there, especially because they change hands so often. You may photograph the same horse twice. I've photographed the same horse multiple times. It happens, you know? So that's something to keep in mind. And then the other thing to keep in mind too is that, what do you do differently than everybody else? Who is your ideal client? I was up in an area recently where there is a very big name photographer. She's very well known. She's one of the big ones. And I was photographing someone who is in her discipline that she tends to photograph. And that client chose me. While I don't photograph her discipline as much, that wasn't her goal. She was mostly trying to capture this time in her life. She wanted it to be really relaxed and, you know, whatever. And that's kind of my spiel. I very much like, you know what, if you want to show up in jeans and a ripped t-shirt, I will make it work for you. That's you. Freaking wear the holes in the shirts and stuff. Like, I want you to recognize yourself is the spiel that I give a lot of people. Whereas that photographer that I was sort of in the area of, or in the territory of, so to speak, she doesn't do that. She's very much about the upscale, let's dress you up and make you look fabulous type of thing, which a lot of photographers do. Which is fine, by the way. I'm not knocking that. It's just not what I do. It's not what I'm comfortable with because, as you can see, like, I'm a mess in my life. She came to me. So that's the second thing. So first is there are a lot of horses around. And second, not everybody wants what the other photographers have to offer. And then the third thing is I have noticed that the horse world is very word of mouth. So I think the equine photography world is very heavy on word of mouth because a lot of people don't even realize that they need an equine specific photographer. They don't even know that exists. It's funny because it's like if someone came up to me and said, hey, Leigh, I specialize in Ram truck detailing or something. I don't know. I would be like, I didn't know that was a thing. I've just been driving through a car wash all this time. But if they go off and tell me about how they are specifically good at Ram trucks because the chemicals they use or something are specially matched to the seats, I don't know. Like, they have tools that fit crevices or something. I don't know. I would be like, oh my gosh, like, I didn't know that was a thing. And I would be like, oh man, like, where have they been all this time? So I think that's the third thing. I think you need to advocate for the niche that you're in because our niche is very, very small. There are not that many of us, despite the fact that we are so immersed in this world of equine photography that's all we see. But many of my peers in the horse world did not know that equine photography was a thing before I started up. So there's a name for the assumption that what you experience and know, the rest of the world experiences and knows. And I don't remember what that is, but it's a thing. It's like a very human thing that we, I guess, experience. So those are the three things that I would say are important to keep in mind when it comes to battling this fear of, can I break into this world with as saturated as my area is? So to recap, first one is there are hundreds of thousands of horses out there. I promise you will find some to photograph because you can photograph them multiple times, whether they change hands or stay with the same owner or what have you. Like, I promise you there are enough horses to go around for all of us. There are not that many equine photographers. Second is not everybody wants what you have to offer. Within the equine photography niche, as small as that is, we niche within that. Like we say, yeah, for example, as I said, I photograph girls who are like, I don't know how to dress up. I don't want to put on makeup or do my hair or do anything. I want to be totally imperfect is the word that I've been using. And that speaks to a lot of girls who are like me, who are just a hot mess. So there's that. And then the third thing is explain and educate why people need what you have to offer, because people know that they need a wedding photographer, an engagement photographer, a senior picture photographer, or whatever, but they don't always realize that they need a specific equine photographer to cover their needs well. So those are my tips. That was my little rant of the day. I hope it was helpful. I hope I didn't offend anybody by smoking, and not having a good background. And yeah, so I'm just fully embracing this imperfectness, I think. Let me know if you have any questions.